What are we going to learn in this episode? Well, one of the things that I like to play with is whimsical designs. I like to throw them in here and there in my decor because they're just fun and they draw interest and they do create a lot of visual interest and they use up a lot of scraps in a crazy fun way. Now, these are definitely, you got to agree, tiny bits of crumbs and scraps. But what I did was I took my foundation block and then I put this loose weave fabric on top and drew me a little box that I'm going to either put fabric or stitch around. And then I'm going to, excuse me, fringe all the outside edges of this top fabric here into that mark there. And that will kind of give me a frame for this. And then I don't know what I will do on the back part. We'll have to see how that goes once it's fringed out and I see how it looks. When you want to play with tiny little fabrics and you want to create a whimsical motif, kind of like I've got here, the problem is trying to keep all your little pieces together. What I found was if I take a little bit of fusible web and cut just a smidgen, and I mean just a little, let me get you here. Cut a piece about that big. Whatever would fit on the back side of these pieces, just a tiny little piece, it can be even littler than this. And take all your pieces that you want to play with after you've cut them in shapes and so forth and so on, flip them over and iron this little piece to the back side of it, and then peel off the paper. And when you place it on your piece, get everything like you want it, then put an iron on it again, and that will adhere all these little pieces just with a little bit of that fusible web glue on the back of these pieces. Everything won't be covered in fusible web, just enough to keep your design in place. And then you can come in and do your stitching or however you want to do it. Now that's what I like to do when I intend to stitch. I don't want to stitch through a whole lot of this fusible web, so I just put it where I need it, little bits and pieces, just to hold my design on, like this is right here. Now I can go ahead and stitch this on, and my pieces aren't going to move around on me, okay? So this is the first part. This is episode 1 of block 2. And this is the little whimsical design that I made just out of bits and pieces that I had, using little motifs that were there and then just different colors, all right? My little Mackenzie Child theme going on here. And we will see what else I can put on this afterwards. And like I said, I will be stitching the outside of this line here. So, all right, have you got that? We can all do that, right? And if you want to make a whimsical block, this is a perfect way to do it. And it's easy and doable for everybody. And you don't have to stress over it. Just make a design of any kind you want, okay? All right, it can be just straight abstract if you just want to put some shapes and things around and make an abstract design. That's very whimsical looking too. And once you do your stitching on it or your embellishment of any kind, you just pop it out there. It's really, really pretty. All right, we're heading into block 2. This is episode 1, and we're into a whimsical block of some kind. Okay, our first one was a patchwork, a crazy quilt type patchwork background, then embellished. This one is a whimsical one. So let's see what you can do with block 2 whimsical thinking. All right, but whatever you do, stay scrap happy. Okay, I'm going to do this second episode in small clips just to show you how I work through some of the embellishment steps that I'm going to do to this. Now, I haven't stitched anything in here. I'm starting with the outline, and I chose this yarn that I'm going to couch down, and because to me it adds just a lot of whimsical little fun around that edge, and it adds to it. So throughout this video, just look for different steps that I'm taking, a little bit of demonstration of each for those who are absolute beginners, and you will be able to follow my process if that's what you choose to do. Let's see here. We are on the line, yes, and I just keep checking my line as I'm going along because it's difficult to pin this down. So I don't even try. I just keep checking my line as I go, and just doing a couching stitch, which is simply an an overcast stitch over the element that you're laying down on the fabric, which in this case is a piece of yarn. And we just take little stitches over the top and keep that down in a straight line there that we're wanting to run it. Very easily done. I love yarns that have a little something different about them because they really help us to embellish without a lot of extra effort. I mean, really, this little bit of yarn here with the little pieces that like little grasses or stems or branches or whatever they are around this whimsical little tree here, just really sets it off. And I didn't do anything. It's the yarn that's doing the work for me. So over time, collecting different yarns that that would add interest to different types of work that you're doing, that would be a very good thing to do. Okay. And these pretty yarns, they do cost more money, and so plan ahead and look for sales and things like that. When I have a yarn shop here close to me where I live, and so it has a lot of really nice things, and some of them I really have to wait until they go on sale or save up for them, and then I can get something, extra pretty. This particular yarn, you might remember, I got it in an estate sale recently, and I just love it. Isn't that cool? Okay, let's go on to the next one. We've gotten a little further along. I wanted to show you some of the stitching that I had done. I finished the little border here with the couching stitches. I did get the edges frimmed. Now I'm doing some stitching, and I decided that I didn't want to do a lot of heavy stitching on this, so I'm doing strategic stitching, what I call strategic stitching, and putting minimal stitches in the areas where, and not, just heavily stitching it down. But there's still quite a bit of stitching because of a lot of edges, and I don't want any of this coming up on me. So I will be doing quite a bit stitching overall. But I wanted to show you what I'm doing. I'm working on the flowers up here right now. I did a little here, little through the tree trunk there. Stitch this down and that. I'll be working on this part of the tree trunk, and this flower, and the rest of this. Okay, but that's how it's looking so far, and I'm liking it. It's coming together really well, and the little bit of stitching that I am doing is popping the colors, so that's making it more vibrant too. Okay, let's keep going. We all have got to the stopping point on this one, and I really think it's cute. I did do the couching of the threads on the outside, and I did do the fringing and on here, and I did the stitching. Let me bring you up a little so you can see that a little more, how I did some of the stitching on here. I didn't take the stitching too seriously. I did do some little bits here and there, everything that would secure and keep down all the elements, but worked in and played in very well without taking over the piece as such, you might say. Now I did add these little flower elements here, and I think I'm going to call that done. You know, we can always add more to these blocks as we start putting them together and to form the quilt itself. So it's good, you know, give it a rest, and when you come back you might think, well, I want to do something else here. But remember that when we sew these together, we've got at least 1/4 inches coming off the sides of each one to sew them together. So make sure that you don't do anything unless you're, you know, piecing something that comes out to the 1/4 inch area. Okay, well, that finishes block 2, and I hope that you find this whimsical theme fun to play with, and I wish I could see everything y'all are doing. That's the only bad thing about YouTube. You get to see me, but I don't get to see everything y'all are doing. So, but have fun, okay? And be scrap happy.